Miranda's meltdown. Miranda's heart pounded in her chest as she stared at the Instagram post. A photo of her beloved Tyler, locked in an intimate embrace with another woman. Betrayed and humiliated, Miranda felt her anger begin to rise. In her rage, Miranda stormed towards Tyler's house. Traffic was congested, but nothing would keep her from confronting her unfaithful boyfriend. As a truck barreled towards her, instead of panicking, she glared at it defiantly. The truck driver blanched as Miranda's body phased through the metal, unaffected. It was as if her fury had granted her supernatural powers. The spectators watched in horror and fascination. A city bus tried to swerve and avoid the unfolding chaos, but Miranda merely grabbed its bumper, heaved it effortlessly off the ground, and sent it flying across the intersection. Tyler watched the spectacle from his window. His eyes widened with shock and fear. Like everyone else, he was astounded by Miranda's sudden powers. Making a quick decision, Tyler grabbed a strange shotgun Spencer's had sold him. It was a novelty item that fired cottage cheese. He loaded it hoping that it would somehow stop Miranda. Miranda burst into the house, her eyes burning with rage. Tyler took a step back, holding up the bizarre weapon. His hands shook, and Miranda's furious gaze met his. "Miranda, please," he pulled the trigger, sending a blast of cottage cheese towards her. But the dairy product did nothing to stop Miranda's approach. Miranda examined the cheese dripping off her, then looked at Tyler, her face a mask of disbelief and anger. Tyler could practically feel his heart pounding out of his chest. "What?" she asked, her voice both dangerous and quiet. Tyler dropped the ridiculous shotgun, staring at Miranda in fear. His defense plan had completely failed. At that moment, a news helicopter circled above, broadcasting the carnage on live TV. The news anchors were desperately trying to grasp what was happening below. Miranda's newfound powers were not just confined to her physical body. Her emotions started to affect the environment. The room heated up around Tyler as Miranda's eyes flashed dangerously. Tyler couldn't help but start to sweat. He had never seen Miranda this furious before. He wasn't sure what would happen next, but he knew it wouldn't be good. The temperature in the room continued to rise, and the air shimmered with waves of heat. Tyler's fear was palpable as he looked at Miranda, who seemed to be the epicenter of the heat. Unable to bear the heat, Tyler stumbled back, tripping over a fallen chair. The fear in his eyes was evident. Miranda stood motionless, the wrath in her eyes unrelenting. He attempted to say something, anything that might make this situation better. His mouth opened and closed, but no sounds came out. The fear had completely taken him. It took a while for Tyler to finally find his voice. I can explain," he stammered, crawling away from her. But Miranda wasn't in a forgiving mood. "Explain this," Miranda demanded, her voice cold. The heat in the room continued to intensify, reflecting her seething anger. Tyler was already drenched in sweat. Tyler started to blubber out an apology, his words stumbling over one another. But it fell on deaf ears. Miranda wasn't here for his pitiful apologies. "You betrayed me, Tyler," Miranda's voice echoed in the room. Her powers started fading away as she calmly walked out of the house, leaving a terrified Tyler behind. Outside, the chaos had subsided. Miranda walked through the crowd, unheard and unseen. The crowd was too busy gawking at the aftermath of her wrath. The news helicopter continued to circle above, capturing the aftermath. Tyler's house was the only one that was in a state of disarray. The rest of the city stood still, stunned. In the end, Miranda had managed to vent her anger. She walked away, leaving Tyler and the havoc behind her. Her wrath was a sight to behold, a lesson to all. The city returned to its daily routine, but the story of Miranda's meltdown had made her a local legend. For weeks, it was all anyone could talk about. In the weeks that followed, Miranda focused on attaining control over her newfound powers. She spent her time in isolation, practicing and understanding her abilities. In the solitude of her training, Miranda found peace. Her anger subsided, giving way to a newfound understanding of her powers. As the days rolled by, she grew stronger, the memory of her heartbreak gradually fading. One day, while practicing her control, Miranda stumbled upon something unexpected. Her powers had extended beyond just physical strength and heat. She could also manipulate objects. It was a fascinating discovery. She started small lifting and rotating objects from a distance. It was challenging at first, but as days turned into weeks, Miranda's control over her telekinesis improved. Meanwhile, the city moved on from Miranda's meltdown. The news cycles found new stories, but the story of her wrath still lingered, becoming a cautionary tale for all. Tyler, traumatized from the incident, never recovered completely. He lived in the perpetual fear of Miranda's return, casting a long shadow over his life. Miranda's powers became an integral part of her. She found solace in them, using them to aid those in need. Unbeknownst to the city, their infamous Miranda was slowly becoming their guardian angel. Months passed, and Miranda led a quiet life, emerging only to help those who needed it. She remained undetected, her identity concealed. The city was clueless about their mysterious benefactor. Tyler, living in fear, constantly wondered if Miranda had truly left. He regretted his actions that led to the chaos, but the past was something he couldn't change. Despite everything, Tyler knew he deserved the fear. It was a constant reminder of his actions and the pain he had caused Miranda. He was left to silently nurse his guilt. As for Miranda, she was content. Her heart had healed, her powers had evolved, and she had moved on. Miranda's chapter with Tyler was closed, and she was ready for new beginnings.
Subscribe for more.